What's good, everybody out there on YouTube? This is your man Shadic dropping some hot frog on this mic. Today we're going to be talking about Sonic X Shadow Generations and mostly why it's probably the most important Sonic game to come out in a while. And I know that sounds weird. It's a remaster of Sonic Generations with a new Shadow the Hedgehog experience basically bolted onto it. But because of that, I think it's really instrumental to basically how the Sonic franchise is going to do in the future. In a previous video, I talked about the state of the franchise, and I talked about how Sonic is in a really unusually good place for the first time in a really long while. We've gotten consistently good games. On top of that, we've gotten consistently good content outside of the games. And on top of that, it looks like the future of the series is looking good, including Sonic X Shadow Generations or Shadow X Sonic Generations. Don't worry about the title, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna say Shadow Generations for the rest of the video. But in Shadow Generations, we know we're getting basically a new open zone format game. And like I said, Sonic Team has done somewhat of a solid job of advertising that game. Now, they haven't shown, I guess, the greatest snippets of gameplay in their actual trailers and stuff, but when we do get footage like from, I think it was Gamescom or whatever it was recently, Summer Games Fest, it actually looked really good. Level design looked solid, all of that stuff. And they showed some pictures off of the hub world or the open zone that Shadow will be going through. Now, we haven't actually seen gameplay of it, but we've seen a few snapshots here and there. And I really think that this is going to be the game that shows that Sonic Team can market to people who aren't Sonic fans, which I think is instrumental. One of the reasons I think that is instrumental is because Sonic fans will buy any slop that Sega puts out. It doesn't matter how good or bad it is. We as fans are going to buy it. That's just how fan bases work. Star Wars fans are going to, consume any of the content that Disney puts out, whether it be good or bad. It's just because they like Star Wars, and because of that, they're going to, buy or purchase or consume whatever media that they put out. And the same goes with Sonic fans. That's not to say that, you're bad for doing that. It's just, this is your franchise that you love and care about. You're going to buy it to see how it's going to be or whatever. And that's fine. But people outside of the fan base are the ones that are really the litmus test for how a Sonic game does. That's why I think Sonic Frontiers are so instrumental, because it's the first Sonic game, 3D Sonic game specifically, in a while where people outside of the fan base really felt that it was good or really enjoyed it. And I think that's awesome. And so advertising to those people is going to be really important. The other reason why Shadow Generations is so important is actually because it's gonna prove basically if the open zone works. Now, what do I mean by that? We've already gotten one game with the open zone concept. Some things worked, some things didn't, but it was overall, Sonic Frontiers was overall that's not necessarily bad, but that's to say that maybe they expand on this game in ways that were unforeseen by not only fans, but people outside of the fan base. Maybe those things are liked, maybe they're disliked. Let's take the adventure formula, say for instance, right? We get Adventure 1 basically through Sonic 06, and basically after Sonic Adventure 2, each iteration of that got functionally worse. It's not necessarily that the style itself was bad. Sonic Adventure 1 and especially Sonic Adventure 2 proved that it wasn't. It's just that they took the games in a way that didn't really make them enjoyable, on top of rushing the projects that they had at hand, notably Sonic 06. And because of that, it kind of tarnished 3D Sonic forever. And while the Boost games were great, and all they had to really do was continue to make Boost games, they decided to deviate away from that with Sonic Lost World. And then when they went back to it, they didn't have the people that made those Boost games really work well. There were people who were there that, they understood inklings of what made Sonic games good, but they didn't really know how to put it all together. And I have a video coming out on Sonic 3D Sonic level design and why that is, that these people didn't understand what, going in, what made Sonic, level design great. Sonic Forces understands good aspects of it, just it doesn't understand how to put it together. And because of that, that was really the last Boost game we got up until Sonic Frontiers, which combined both of the styles. And to be honest, I think it combined some of the best aspects of both styles. But now with Shadow Generations, we're going to see the next step in the open zone gameplay style. How will they implement boost? How will they implement the spin dash, which was added in the last Sonic Frontiers update? I mean, Sonic Frontiers updates kind of changed the game in astronomical ways. How are they going to implement those changes here? How are they going to balance them out with each other? And overall, how will they improve open zone? We also have to see what they do with the levels. We know that the levels are pretty much longer than they were in Sonic Frontiers, but I want to see what they really do to expand them and just make them feel good. I really want to believe in Sonic Team, and I do. They proved it to me with Sonic Frontiers, but I think, you know, we got to get a second verse same as the first, if not better, with Shadow Generations. Because if not, I think it's gonna not only hurt, you know, non-fans' perspective of the Sonic franchise, but really fans. Especially because we've been getting remasters and re-releases that haven't been the best. And to be honest, this one looks like the first good one in a while. Sonic Origins Plus had a myriad of issues, Sonic Colors Ultimate had a myriad of issues, and Sonic X Shadow Generations is really the next step in that. Is it going to be another blunder, or is it going to be a success? And I think that's why this game is so important. It has to do three things: get non-fans interested, evolve open zone in just a positive way, and overall make sure fans are still being appealed to. In my gut, I feel like Sonic Team is about to knock this out of the park, but I don't want to speak too early. I do think it's important to really get all these three things right if you want, you know, the next successful big hit on your hands, despite how much effort may have been put into it, or despite how little, or you know what I mean. But how do you feel about this? Let me know in that comment section down below. Are you excited for, you know, Shadow Generations? How did you feel about Sonic Frontiers? What do you want to see them improve from, you know, the last update of Sonic Frontiers going into Shadow Generations? Have you liked what you've seen from like a level design perspective and just how they're recreating these stages? I mean, they recently just released a trailer that showed off, I guess, stages next to each other, and everybody realized how slow Shadow is in Sonic 06, which I think is hilarious because that's one of my biggest issues with that game. And overall, just looking into the future, how big of an impact do you think Shadow Generations is going to have on the franchise? But with that all out of the way, this has been your man Shadic. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Share this video out with your friends. Watch my Sonic Adventure video. I talked about how Sonic Adventure 1 is to play in the year of our Lord 2024. It's my perspective on the game and really how I feel about it now versus how I felt about it as a kid, I guess. And if you want to watch some non-Sonic content, I did recently upload an episode of my podcast on my second channel, Jet Set Shadic, and that'll all be at the end of this video and in the description down below. But again, this has been your man Shadic. Hot Frogger turns to Cold Bazaga. Make sure you chill out some of my other videos. Follow your boy on Twitter and sub to this channel and the second channel if you want some non-Sonic content. But we're out of here. Peace and have a good one.